What's going on, YouTube? I know it's been a month or two here since I've done a video. Been really busy. I work in retail, and you know how the holidays can get. But I have a day off today, and I figured I'd take this opportunity to go ahead and knock out a YouTube video. And there's something I've been wanting to talk about on this channel. And if you're involved with ham radio stuff, then there's a very good chance that you've heard of that. And that is number stations. So if you haven't heard what number stations are, they are one of the world's last phenomena, a mysterious broadcast. So basically, and it's typically on the HF frequencies, there are numbers, or strings of numbers, that are broadcast throughout the day on regular schedules, and nobody knows what the purpose of these broadcasts are for. And I'll actually play an example too of one of the number stations broadcasts over here so you guys can hear exactly what it sounds like. And keep in mind, there's no context to this. It just comes out of nowhere on a specific frequency at specific times in the day from different locations.
Three 9-7-1-5. 3-9-7-1-5.
So it's kind of odd, and there are whole communities of people dedicated into trying to figure out what these number stations are. And I'll put some website links in the description so you guys can check those out. But the leading theory of what these number stations are about are that they are from governments broadcast to spies who are out in the field. So one big reason that this is such a big theory is because if you think about it, HF frequencies go around the globe with enough transmit power. They go all around, and there's no GPS locations. There's no there's no tracking any of that. And for the receiving end, they can receive the message, and as long as they have the cipher, which a lot of people theorize it's a one-time pad, and I'll get into that here in a moment, then they can translate the message. So it would be a way for governments to send out messages to their spies, saying, maybe give them orders to perform a certain task, give them update on the news of what's going on with the current spy thing that they're trying to accomplish. There's a whole lot of different theories on where these come from, but it seems very likely that this could be the cause, because why else would random broadcasts go on with random numbers? Who is using these numbers? What do they mean? And it's amazing that with all these communities that are so invested in trying to figure out these messages, we still haven't found out, and the broadcast still goes on. So as you see, a lot of these communities, they have noticed trends in different frequencies. So as you can see on this priam.org/numberstations/station schedule, we have a specific schedule that these number stations are set to broadcast in and are expected to. And it shows the next upcoming broadcast. It shows a lot of different information about the specific, like the different bandwidth, the certain frequency, and a lot of what people theorize is where it's coming from, or maybe even what it could be. Now, one interesting thing to note is many of these stations actually are very, so they are on a set schedule, and they'll broadcast maybe 1 or 2 times a day. So some people think that that first broadcast is a way of getting the encryption key to decipher the message that comes later. And that way, the cipher could always be changing, it could be dynamic, which means if the papers are found, or somebody finds out the key to decrypt it, well, it kind of goes out the window the next day in the next broadcast, and that kind of comes back. I don't know if you guys seen the Imitation Game, but that game is, I mean, that movie is amazing. I really recommend watching the movie. But that's kind of an example of maybe what's going on here. But I've actually personally tuned into some of these stations on my HF radio just to hear what it sounds like, and it's very it's creepy, you know. It's creepy that knowing that these broadcasts are still going on, and people theorize they've been going on since the Cold War. I think there's actually one number station that has been going on since the Cold War, and people just don't know where it's coming from. We don't know where it's coming from. We don't know who it's going to, and it's one of the last one of the last mysteries of the world. And it's very interesting that somebody's using HF radio this way. So it's definitely something, if you have never checked out before, it's something to look into. You know, I'll post a couple links to some different communities that are tracking these number stations, or Enigma stations. That's the word I was looking for. Kind of like the Enigma machine. And not all of them are earned voice. Some of them are actually in PSK31 in different radio protocols. But I'll play a couple more samples here so you guys can hear what it sounds like. So that signal name is CIS MFSK16 XPA2. It broadcasts between 3 to 30 megahertz on upper sideband, and it's from Russia. And it's a string of numbers. Another website to look at is hfunderground.com. It actually tries to map the stations on a grid to kind of show you where they're coming from, and tries to identify them, and also have the schedule there. So I'll post a link down below to that as well. But in the end, there are many theories on why these number stations exist, what they're used for, but the leading theory is they are transmitted to agents that are in the field. They'll have something called a one-time pad, which is a cipher. I'll post on a picture on the screen here, and they're able to get those numbers that are broadcast from the stations and translate it into letters, and they can use those letters and put them together to form the message that they're trying to get. And they are the only ones with that one-time pad, so they are the only ones that can decode that message. If you don't have an HF radio on your own, this website actually has a really cool feature where it shows the next station in 15 minutes, or you can take the frequencies, and if you click on those, it will take you to a websdr. And if you guys don't know what that is a online, pretty much software-controlled radio where people can go on and select a frequency and use someone else's HF radio in order to listen to different signals that are going on in the air. And you can actually use this if you're a licensed ham operator. You can broadcast and hear yourself and test and check your propagation if you can't find somebody else to reply, and see where you're getting out to. But the really cool thing is you can use these combined with those frequencies I saw before, and go in and try to listen to those on the schedule using this without actually having to own an HF radio yourself. So that's really cool, and I think I'm going to do a video in the future just all about WebSDRs, because they're such a cool tool to use. they're such a cool tool to get new people into the radio hobby because they're free to use and they're very interesting to play with. But I really recommend you go on these websites and just kind of look into number stations a little bit. It's a very interesting topic, and there's a lot of information to uncover there, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can play around with here as well. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I know I'm a little late putting out content, and I know this wasn't the most quality video, but I've been wanting to make a video on number stations a long time here. This is not all the information whatever video. This is just let my subscribers know who have never heard of number stations, at least informing them about it so they can do their own research, because it is a so very interesting topic. Anyways, if you guys liked the video, if you like this type of thing, make sure do let me know down below. And if you have any more interesting topics to cover over ham radio, be sure to let me know in the comments if you'd like me to talk about them on the channel. And thank you guys so much for watching.